if this just isn't the coolest rim Steven could ever find. Especially with that bullet wound. What a unit.
Well, here we go, let's get those wheels out on the road. It may get dusty, but that's the way she goes. We'll build some greasy old cars and drink our AGD. Hey, don't you know, it's partly built.
Alright, it's August 11th. Miles Mayhem starts on the 15th. Woo! We're heading out on the 13th because we're going to try and hit a dyno in Red Deer. We've gotten some things done on the truck. We got these really sexy 90s rims on the back. And if we can find the bearings to put the bigger rotors on, we're going to have a matching set in the front. So it'll be the first time this truck's ever had matching rims in the time Steven's owned it.
Pretty much.
Steven's finishing up the wiring for the two-step switch.
Don't look at my wiring, it's hideous.
Look at all this wire. This is, Steven likes to call himself a wiring master.
Hey, it fucking works. It don't look pretty, but it works.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a Dodge. Electrical fire, no one will assume it's his wiring.
Yeah, exactly. No one will question it.
He actually built a console. I mean, started building a console. And now the gauges don't have to sit upside down. We can actually see. And he put a switch in for his two-step. We might even put a shift boot on. We'll see how things go. Cup holders, we might just use solo cups for bases inside those holes. But look at all this room for storage of his garbage. Literally garbage. What else did we get done? Oh, we got the diff shimmed, hopefully proper, and the preload and the backlash done. We loaded up the tune file yesterday, and for some reason, things aren't making sense. We went back to the base tune, and all of a sudden, our O2s are not reading 17 to 1, they're reading 12 to 1, 10 to 1. So that's a lot happier. So now that the widebands are reading proper, hopefully we can get a tune in it again. We got to recalibrate the speedometer. We got to tune it again. We got to make the tack work. But we think, well, Steven thinks he's figured out. Last night when we were trying to tune it, we couldn't get the widebands to read right on the computer. We could read them on the gauge on the dash, but they weren't reading right on the computer. But he thinks he figured out what's going on with the wiring there. So once we get the console all bolted in, and by bolted in, I mean we're going to set it in and then use plumber strap to hold it, because we're classy like that.
Fuck it.
Yeah, because we're classy guys. And then we'll put the laptop on it and we'll see if we can get some of that tuning done. Tomorrow, we pick up the trailer. We pick up the money from the sponsorships. We load up the trailer. I got the day off tomorrow. I think Steven's got a half day off. We got to pick up the last of the sponsorship decals. And we got some really nice decals figured out for the tires. And some people aren't going to get it. A lot of people probably won't understand it, but those of you who do are going to piss yourself laughing. It's great. So we're going to tinker away a little more here and
Green blue.
We'll bring you back. All right, so console's in. That's all wired up. And as you can see, we got gauges, push button, and we even styled it by putting a shift boot on. But of course, it didn't fit the hole, so we had to cut the bracket apart. And like, it's just classy in here now. And electrical taped this up past the screws so it looks really elongated and terrible. And as we said, we held it in with plumber strap. But I feel like because I cleaned these wires up for the tuning, I feel like it really counteracts each other, and really it's just a classy unit now. So Steven's just going to check for some red solo cups so we can test those and see if those work in our cup holders. And then it's time for tuning, and I think that might be it for tonight. And then tomorrow we may or may not be doing front brakes and finishing stuff up. So I guess we'll see. Okay, so after some more bad wiring, we finally got the O2 sensor to read, which is just a load off our minds. I think it was just a pin got partially pulled out when the two-step got wired up last year. And
all a bunch of fucked.
So anyway, we are going to take it for a quick burn around the yard here and see what we can do.
If I had a plate on this thing, I'd say we can go moving it around. Let's go for a quick little burn.
Are you breaking laws?
Every day.
Good.
broken?
It's registering temperature and oil pieces,
Huh?
so we should be good.
This gives you that extra
So,
shift through.
our cooling gauge is a liar because it says 210, 220. We are 193. Other than that, it's looking good. All right, it's August 12th. We leave tomorrow. This is the mess I have to dig through to try and figure out what I need to pack. It's about 10 in the morning. Steven's still at work. So I'm gonna get stuff a little more organized from this mess that he has created everywhere in my absence. This used to be his toolbox. Now it's just the floor, the benches, everywhere. But I'm gonna start packing up everything that we're gonna need for the trip. And hopefully I don't forget anything, but you never know. All right, so I think we got everything figured here. Most of the tools we need other than my toolbox from work are right here. And then I'm gonna bring these slicks just in case we have a blowout. We might be able to get a tire shop to swap one of these onto our rims. And then the welder. So, I got a little bit of stuff left at home to pack up. And at the end of the day today, we gotta grab my tool cart from work. But other than that, I think we got it pretty much wrapped. There's a lot less stuff coming this year. Without the spare engine having to come in and out, we're not bringing the crane. We're not bothering to bring the TIG welder because we never used it, and then we don't have to worry about transporting the bottle and all that crap too. We're not bringing near as many tires because we don't need them. And we've cut down on a lot of the excess stuff this year. So hopefully that'll make it a lot less of a mess. But there's only one way to find out how that's gonna work. So anyway, we'll leave it at that. You know it's bad when it's not even day one and you already have a tire coming apart. I guess it's a good thing I brought the spare set of slicks on the small bolt pattern. Yeah, no big deal. We're just doing some all-wheel drive drag racing. We got meatier front tires than we do on the back for sure now. So we blew a glass fuse for the fuel pump. After we fixed that, we blew another fuse for the ECM. Kind of makes a guy wonder what the amp rating is on a fork. All right.
Perfect. I just look like a douchebag on the camera. That's awesome.
We know you're a douchebag. It's fine.
No, I'm just an asshole. I'm not
Okay.
I'm a douchebag.
We're at Medicine Hat, and we're actually at the same Flying J that we got the 513s at.
Thanks, Big Gear Daddy.
It's been an eventful day. We went to Red Deer this morning because we were planning on doing the dyno thing. Well, first of all, we had a tire come apart, so we put the slicks on the front of the truck because it was a steer tire. And then we drove to Red Deer like that, and we found some tires in Red Deer. And while we were in traffic in Red Deer, we blew a fuse in the glove box. And then we blew a fuse in the console, and we got some crappy cell phone videos that we'll put in right now.
And this fucking thing.
Yeah, then we got to Drumheller, and we noticed the stack was moving quite a bit. So we didn't want to get the welder out and re-weld this.
Maybe tonight.
So we just got a hose clamp on there.
Solid.
Yeah, we're in Brooks now, so we figured, oh yeah, there's our new fancy $80 a piece for used tires. It was kind of a rip-off.
Yeah, honestly, I think it was a little more expensive.
And then we had to go back through Stettler to get the tire shop to mount them for us. But whatever. But we're just in Brooks, so we just did a freaking quick lug nut check and hub check. We're just gonna make sure that we have no leaks. It is extremely hot in this console. We put the boot on the top, not one underneath. I pulled the lug nut socket out of the console and I could barely hold it. So then we figured we better get the bug spray and any other explosives out of there.
You know what the sad thing
But
is?
I can put one of the ice cold waters in my cup holder here. And it's only cold for about 10 minutes.
You know what the sad thing is? This exhaust pipe, I think, is colder than that fucking can of bug screen was.
This exhaust pipe is colder than the can was.
And we've been parked here for what, like 3-4 minutes?
Yeah, 5 or so. But yeah, Steven's just gonna have a look underneath, make sure we got no other leaks, but I think onward.
I think she's good enough for the...
Back into the truck. We have every single window open and I don't remember it being this hot last year.
Well, this thing, like that center console may or may not actually be an improvement. It might be a detriment.
Well, the nice thing is that all the hot air in there escapes right at my foot when I'm on the throttle over there. So, you know.
At least it's better than hitting you right in the tit like it did last year. With that friggin'
Oh, that's true. No, that was right in the side of my leg.
Yeah, that was the...
Anyway, we're gonna keep on keeping on, I think.
See if we can't break it anymore. Okay, bring out the fucking barbecue. I'm hungry.
We don't have a barbecue this year because we're fancy.
We're fancy bitch cooking this year.
Air fryer.
Fuck yeah. Air fryer for our cheap 90 cheap hot dogs. Slick.
Well, it's Sunday morning. Miles of Mayhem starts tomorrow. Tech and test and tuner today. Just enjoying my breakfast through our fancy air fryer. Got the slicks on the truck. Steven's still taking his nap. I think we're good to go through tech. We still got to go to town and pick up a couple things, but hopefully things go smoothly today. People are starting to roll in, but she's still pretty quiet. It's only 8 o'clock, so we'll see how things go.
Gas are set up on the old 55.
Box sides.
Something flat.